I'm listening, and then she's gone to me, but I'm not putting you on the birth certificate. So she gave birth on the 27th of October. I got told about my daughter being here alive and well on the 4th of November.
And who told you?
She did.
So
Via
she
messages. Yeah, via the WhatsApp messages. So I got all this long message telling me all this stuff about me. I wouldn't trust her with a stranger, so I wouldn't trust her with you. If you want to see her, you can pay to go contact centre. I'm not putting your name on the birth certificate. I'm not giving her none of your name and all this. After she agreed that the child would have my last name, I've got that in writing. None of that, yeah?
What's going on, people, and welcome back to the Baby Fathers podcast for another brand new episode. I'm your host, and I go by the name of DJ Ridler. So before I start today's show, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press that notification button since time when the episode comes out. You're going to be the first to know. And don't forget to push that like button. All right? So listen up. On today's show, we have another special guest, and he goes by the name of Thomas. How you doing, my bro?
I'm good, bro. Thank you for having me.
I want to say thank you for coming down. All right? So what has brought you down to the Baby Fathers?
So obviously I've watched a few of your videos, just really trying to find a platform, to find a voice, just for men really that have had difficult situations with their partners or ex-partners in my case, just trying to be dads, trying to do the right thing by their children. In this case, I have a daughter. So just trying to spread the word really. I appreciate you and the work that you do. So
respect, my bro. Yeah. Respect. All right. So listen, before we get on today's, before we actually start, to find out about your story, what you've experienced, I have to put a disclaimer out there. All right. So anything what you say is your truth, and it's your truth only. No one can't say anything different because it's how you see it to be for what you have gone through. Mm-hmm. All right. So how many kids do you have?
So currently, I've got two. One with my partner who I live with, and one who is the baby mama.
Okay, so you got two baby mothers, but obviously one you're with, and two kids for one each, obviously. All right, so obviously, which one are you here to talk about?
So I'm here to talk about the one with the person who I'm not with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's start with that story then. I want to start from how you lot first met. So from the beginning of that story.
So I must have met her when I was about 16, 17, but I've known of this person for probably like 11, 12 years.
Okay.
So quite a long time, yeah.
All right. So how was the relationship with her when you was with her? Like, did you live with each other or?
Yeah. So basically, it was during sort of COVID, sort of the back end of COVID times. I kind of just went to see her kind of like I normally would as a friend and that. And then sort of, one thing led to another. We was just enjoying each other's company. So at the time, I just moved back from America. So I literally didn't have anywhere to go. So I was living with my mum at the time. She was in her family home with her mum and her brother. So we was, quite happy, in terms of I was happy with her. And she was happy with me, but there was a lot of issues in terms of like family stuff going on her side. Like her brother, is quite violent. He beats up his own mum, beat her up before, beats her up, chokes her out, and his girlfriend as well. So for me, it was quite difficult because I'm kind of not living on edge, but I'm always kind of on high alert because I think like, when I went back to my mum's, I'm like, am I going to check my messages in the morning? Am I going to have missed calls because a madness has gone on? Not very nice sort of individual. Her brother, shots out the yard, don't do anything for nobody, like just treats women like they're trash really. So this has been going on since the girl was sort of young, it's probably like 13, 14. It just caused a bit of friction in the relationship just because it's difficult for people that have suffered from abuse to snap the cycle or quite try to see that things like that are not normal.
Agree.
It's kind of a normality. So when you come in from an outside perspective and you say, hold on a minute, like that's not right, or that shouldn't be happening, or why don't you take a step back and try and see something in from a different light? Sometimes you're met with a little bit of, oh no, like, they try swerve it, or it might they might try to confront it, or so it just caused a bit of friction, but it wasn't that bad. It was more so like I had an issue with the way people was behaving. It was never like an issue with the girl. Yeah.
Obviously, you said the brother was kind of violent. Was there ever a situation between you and the brothers when you saw?
Yeah. So I remember that her aunt was dying of cancer, unfortunately, and she had gone with her mum to visit the aunt at hospital. She was having some treatment. And I just remember I was playing PS5 with my bro, like we was online. I had the headset on and that. At this point, I was living with her in her family home. So I was upstairs in her room, and then her brother was in the yard with one of his brethren and his dog. And then literally I get a message from this girl saying to me like, apparently my brother's throwing you out the house tonight. And I'm like, what? So she's like, yeah, apparently my brother's throwing you out the house tonight because I won't bring the dog food home. And I'm like, what? So just kind of to give a bit of context. So the where I was sort of mentally, like my grandmother just passed away that week. So I was kind of in a bit of a more, how do I say, a bit more sensitive to things where other things I might just ignore it. Do you know what I mean? Be the bigger person, be the bigger man. But at that moment, I was a little bit more volatile in terms of how I was receiving certain energies and certain things, and especially the catalogue of incidences that I was aware of that had been going on with the brother, with this girl and all the other business, and the way that he treats people and that. So she was telling me, yeah, boom, sent me like screenshots, the guy's using all foul language towards her, saying that he's going to call this one, that one to drag me out of the house or whatever. So I've gone downstairs. I'm a bit pissed off, but I'm just like, do you know what? Like, I need to just say something. So I said to him, like, have you got a problem? So he's there with his boy and he's like, yeah, you. So I said, all right, cool. I said, well, the feeling's mutual. So then I've gone to walk up the stairs, and then he stood up and he's like, oh yeah, do you know what? It's time for you to go. So I looked at him and I said, pardon? And he was like, it's time for you to go. I said to him, this ain't your house. It's your mother's house. So when the person whose house it is comes home, if they ask me to leave, then I'll leave. But this ain't your domain to be issuing orders. Your name's not on no tenancy agreement. You know what I mean? And he's just a wally. So the guy's walking up the stairs in front of me, and he's like to me, yeah, like you need to go this, that, and whatever. And he keeps chatting. So I'm walking down. It's like a long landing towards her bedrooms at the far side. So he just keeps waffling behind me. And I just turn around and I said to him, like, what are you going to do? I said to him, like, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to make me leave the house? Come and make me leave the house, I said to him. So then he's walking towards me now. So I just stand there. Then he's grabbed me like both, like, like where your bag is strapped. So he's grabbed me there. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then like, I'm letting him do everything. So then he's like, move me like onto the side of the wall. So I'm looking at him, because in my head I'm thinking like, if I want to do something, like I already know, like it's mad, like I'm in control in that situation. So then this guy starts like growling or doing something with his head, and he's like bringing his face towards mine. So at that point I was like, right, you see like boundaries and that, I'm like, it's too far. So left hand, I've just pushed out, grabbed him, twisted his jacket, and I've just held him, and he's just kind of like twisted, like bent over, and I'm just looking at him. I could have done anything in that moment, but the thing that came into my head at that time was, do you know what? I know what this person's like, and I know that if I do something to him, I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about my partner, because I'm like, this is all going to come back to her. Because if I smash him up or I do whatever, do you know what I mean? So in my head at the time, when I look back at it in retrospect, obviously it annoys me, because I feel like, no, I should have done something. I had every right to do so, but I just held him there. So then he's there for a couple seconds, and then he called his brethren up the stairs. He's like, oh yeah, get this push shot off me, rare. So the brethren's come up the stairs now, and then he's grabbed me. So the guy, I've known him for a while, like we went to school together and that. So I tried to reason with him, and I said to him, look, let me go about my business. You can see the situation. I've got the upper hand. Just let it be. So I'm now like the dog's there, and I'm looking down at the dog, and then they just blindsided me, bang, just smashing me, kicked me downstairs through like a door, baby gate or whatever. Like my nose was all bust, like blood was all just coming out my face and that. So I texted the girl and I said, oh, like him and his brethren basically just done what they did. And she was on her way back from the hospital. So she called the police. So all you hear is obviously like siren. You see outside, like through the house, you can see the blue light flashing where it's come out to the up to the road. So the brethren's run downstairs, grabbed all the guy's stash of like his gear and all that he's shot in, jumped the back gate. Then he's come out the front. So I used to do a lot for this family. Like I used to do a lot for the mum. You know what I mean? I used to do the mum's garden. I used to do all sorts of things for
Man stuff around the house.
Yeah. Because there ain't a man in the house. Do you know what I mean? So then literally we come outside, blood's all pouring from my face. Do you know what I mean? All this is going on. Evidence, you know, and he's just there, literally like his jacket's a bit bust, where obviously that incident where I grips him. And that's kind of when my perception really changed of everything, because I'm there, this has happened to me, you know the type of character that your son is, but she was more worried about her son's jacket than my health and my well-being.
Who's just the mother?
The mother.
Okay.
So the girl who I was with at the time, she's effing and blinding, oh, I hate you, I wish you died or whatever to the brother.
Okay.
And because she called the police, she then thought, fuck, I can't go back to the yard because you're going to get beat, you're going to get tortured, whatever he's going to do to you.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh yeah, can I move in with you and your mum? So I'm like, all right, cool. So spoke to my mum about it. Obviously, police drove me there to my mum's yard and that. And then
Did he ever get arrested for it?
yeah. So
Okay.
he got arrested, but it's literally in the house. There's no evidence, so nothing came of it. Packed up all her stuff, obviously, so she can come and stay at the house.
This is your first baby. This is the baby mother we're talking about.
Yeah. So then fast forward a bit. So we're living at my mum's house, and then literally 2-3 weeks after this happened, I get COVID.
Okay.
To the point where like it's really bad. Like you know, it's like I wasn't hospitalized, but if I went to the hospital, I might have been like ventilated or something. So really bad. And just having those two incidents back to back, I had a little kind of revelation moment, and I was like, I need to look at what I'm doing with my life, who I've got in my life. And someone who I love dearly, a very good friend of mine, she said to me something, and it kind of, you know, sometimes some people just need to say something and it's the catalyst for you to kind of just make sense. So she said to me, she was like, Tom, I need to talk to you about something. And I said, yo, okay. She said, I know you love this girl, you know, take this girl away from all the background noise. And yeah, she's a lovely girl, you love this girl, yeah? But she was like, you have a child, take the girl away and you have a child. That's her child, but take her away. You've got grandparent, uncle, this, that, all on that side, all these people, all that type of people. Would you allow your child as a man to associate and be around those types of individuals? And I said, no. So I kind of, you know, we're adults, we was in a long-term committed relationship, and there was talks of having a child. So then after that, I was like, do you know what, yeah, sit down there thinking about this, that and whatever. So I remember I took her into the living room and I sat her down one night and I said, just so you're aware, you know, this is where I'm at. I don't want to have children with you. I don't want to this and that. And effectively, you know, like, yeah, we're seeing each other, we're doing this, we're doing that, but your long-term aspirations of what you probably want from me, I don't want to have that with you now. So yeah, you've got all the emotions with that, you know, all this stuff. And yeah, so she was kind of suffering a bit like emotionally, obviously, because of the traumatic background where she's coming from anyway. So I was going to work, doing my thing, and then effectively we wasn't together, but the girl's still living at my house. And then literally, yeah, like one of the girls at my work, I was chatting to her, really nice girl and that. And then the way that I kind of saw it after the discussions and things that we had, I wasn't in a relationship. So I started speaking to this girl. And then I was kind of stuck in a situation because it was like I wanted my freedom, but this girl's in my house. She's got nowhere to go because if she goes back to her family home. The brother's going to beat the shit out of her, whatever he's going to do. So I'm stuck. And then this was going on for about a month, and it was just driving me crazy. And then literally one day I was just like, do you know what? I need to just bite the bullet and see what happens. And I just let her leave. Not let her leave, but, you know, I just said to her, like, all right, cool. Like, she was saying she was going to go to her friends and all this and all that. And obviously I was still caring for the girl. It's not like I can just turn that off.
Yeah.
So she left, and then I was like, all right, cool. Didn't really hear nothing from her. And then one day I get a call when I'm at work. She's like, oh, I need to talk to you about something. So I'm like, oh, what? She's like, oh, like, when you got time, like, after your clients or whatever, like, let me chat to you. So I remember chatting to her now on the phone, and she's like, oh, yeah, like, I'm pregnant. So I'm like, all right, cool. Now, first thought that come to my head, attention seeking. I just thought it's just bog standard. We literally just split up. And then 2 weeks, 2 weeks after you've left my house, you're telling me that you're pregnant. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, what? So I said, all right, cool. So went to the like nearby store, got the clear blue, like the like £15 test to make sure, like, and then she was pregnant. So the first thing I did was, obviously I had a conversation with her, and I know how women are sensitive about this, and I know that, some cultures, especially as well, and faiths and things, don't believe in things like, like getting rid of like children, like abortions and whatnot. So, even that word abortion, I never once used that word. But based on her current circumstance, her living arrangement, her mental health, her physical health, just everything about what was going on with her, not being with me setting a boundary to say to her, look, I don't want to be with you, like, I said, like, you're not giving that child the best possible chance at life. But apparently I'm a monster for saying those things, and she just called me all the names under the sun. And she was like, no, I'm having it. So I was like, all right, cool. So I know I can't do anything about that. So I'm like, let me switch my mindset. Okay, it's into dad mode now. So let me set up arrangements. So I said, anything to do with the child, I'm there. Anything to do with you exclusively, I don't want to know about it. Scans, tell me the dates. I'll take the time off. I'll be at every scan. I want to be your birthing partner. Even if if you don't feel comfortable with that, I'll respect that. You can have your mum in the room, but I want to be at least in the hospital so I can meet my child when they're born. Just things that are common sense. So went to the first scan, saw the baby. Be honest with you, I didn't feel nothing. At the end of the day, like, it was for me at that time an obligation that I've been trapped per se into having a child, but I'm still stepping up. I'm not, going to neglect that kid. I'm going to make sure that they're good and whatnot. So went to the first scan, come out the scan now, and the girl's all talking to me about, oh yeah, there's this guy that I went cinema with, and I've been seeing him. I'm going on dates and all that. Yeah. So the first thing I said, oh, that's great. Good for you. Does the guy know that you're pregnant? So the girl was like, yeah, of course. It was one of the first things that I spoke to him about.
So how many months is she supposed to be pregnant at the time?
She's 3 months pregnant at this time. 4 months, let's say. So it was the first scan, 12. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's a 12-week scan, the first scan. So I'm like, all right, cool. So in my head, I'm thinking like 2 things. Yeah. First thing I'm thinking, is this you're trying to see if I'm jealous or whatever? I don't know. And second thing, I'm like, is this brother for real? Like, sounds like a weirdo.
To be with a woman who's pregnant after 4 months, and you're trying to get with her.
With a next man's you as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like, listen, I understand you got feelings and but it's like, again, this is just my opinion. Other people might beg to differ. I've spoke to some people. I've heard like other women agree, and I've actually had some women say to me, no, like, it's her body. She can do what she wants. And I'm like, all right, cool. At the end of the day, that's your life. That's your perception of life and what you want to do. That's cool. So she was saying all this stuff about, he's already asked me to be his girlfriend. He knows about the baby and all that. And I'm like, so you're already going on dates, linking up with man, talking about sexual things, and the guy's trying to commit to a relationship knowing that you're going to have a relationship with not just you. Like, you're having a baby.
Yeah.
So, and obviously when you have a baby, you see when you're older, like if you've got a daughter that's like 15, 16, she's doing her own thing. So you got a next woman come into your life, yeah? You're going to marry her and all this, but your daughter don't need to meet her for however long you both feel like it's an agreement. When it's a baby, the baby's stuck to mummy. It's not like, oh, I'm going on a date, yeah? Exclusively breastfed, all of that, yeah? So the baby's on top of mum 24/7. baby can't be going to know, oh yeah, hand off, I'm going on a date for 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? So the man knows that you're getting into a relationship with a woman and you're going to be around a baby that's not yours. For me, it's just a bit,
But
again,
like even just to myself, like that just sounds mad to date a woman who's pregnant for someone else's.
Yeah.
And I even in any of my circles, like even the man them who I would know, I know even that would be a no-go. These are the things you just don't do.
I just was, firm with my boundaries. That's the biggest thing that I, set myself was with this girl, is just make sure that you don't give her an opportunity to gas her head to think like, oh, he loves me or he's going to get back with me. So it was always boundaries. So I said, all right, cool, you whatever. She told me this stuff about the guy. I wasn't annoyed at it in terms of like, she can do her own thing. Like she can chat to any man, get married, do whatever she wants, but it's when the child is involved. That's where I come in as dad, because you got to set again boundaries, and there's rules and regulations.
So sorry to interrupt you. So how long did you think she should have waited before she got into a new relationship after giving birth? How long would you say she should have waited for?
I mean, in my perspective, it's just about the child being exposed to an individual. So if you've got a baby that's 3 months and the baby can take the bottle and you want to go out on dates and do your thing, and you got grandma, you got someone there, baby can be 3 months. The main thing for me is about whatever time that child, because every child's different, the child allows the time to be away so that you can have build a relationship and be around an individual, because you don't know that person. You could be with someone for a year, depending on the intensity of the relationship. You don't know that person. They could be a predator. Do you know what I mean? All these mad things that you don't know. And my whole thing was just from a protective standpoint. It's like, why would you want to be around a woman that intensely when she's just having a baby of another man? Because not only that, but the other guy's got to be thinking, the baby dad's going to be around. Is that not going to make you start thinking certain things as well? Because nobody likes exes sniffing around. Let's be real. Because we've already had access.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mentally, physically, emotionally. So there is that chance of that door's never, some people would beg to differ, but the door's never well and truly closed. Do you know what I mean? That's why these people get into all these different issues and my ex and this, that, and whatever, because it's a well-known fact. Historically, it's just taboo. Yeah. But in terms of the timing, as long as you can build a relationship and know that person, I wouldn't set a time. It just where the child allows you the freedom to be by yourself and get to know that person before you well and truly make a judgment and introduce them into the child's life. Setting the boundaries. Had a couple of times where I met with her. She was like to me, do the right thing. Leave this girl that I'm with, who's my partner.
So you got into a new relationship.
Yes.
After how many months she was pregnant?
So I was seeing the girl before she even told me she was pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. Let me just I'm trying to clear this all up. So you broke up with her, but she was still living at your house.
Yes.
But even though she was still living at your house, you then got into speaking to someone new.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. And was that girl cool at the time, knowing that there was an ex-lady staying at your house?
So basically, you know what? I don't even remember. No, in terms of timeline wise. No, she must have known. Yeah, I don't. To be honest, right now,
you don't know then, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Okay.
So she was living at my house. Obviously, we had the chats and XYZ. She didn't have anywhere to go. She was still living at my house. So I wasn't in a formal relationship. Like I'm just chatting with this girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's just a new girl.
We're just
talking and
getting
to see what she's about.
Yeah.
But you've checked out this other relationship.
Yeah, long time. Yeah.
But she's told you she's now pregnant.
Yeah. So at this point, she'd already moved out of my house.
Okay.
She was living with her friend.
Okay.
She was staying at her friend's house. And then about 2-3 weeks after she had left my house, she then said, I'm pregnant.
Okay.
So kind of timeline.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Just working at the time.
Yeah,
and then, so you're talking about your new girl.
Yeah.
Who you now with? Continue.
Yeah. So I'm with my new girl now. And I'm very open. So the moment that I got off the phone, I spoke to my family when the girl told me she was pregnant. But I said to them, my new girl as well, I said to her, look, like, she just called me. She said she was pregnant. You know, throughout the whole thing, it's about transparency, because if I'm having a child with someone else, the same way that, you know, you're going to have to know that I might be spending days and times going to places to spend time with the child, or scans, or, you know, so it's just letting people know. And if you want to stay with me or not, because you've got to give people the choice. Do you know what I mean? So fast forward a little bit, you know, the girls all just umming and ahhing, acting funny. And then I get a text from my mum the night before the 20-week scan. Oh, tell Thomas not to come to the scan and that. So I was like, that's weird. Why is she messaging you and not me?
Yeah. That's your mother, right?
Yeah, that's my mum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I was like, nah, fuck that. I was like, I made an agreement. I made a decision for that child. I'm not going there for anyone but the baby that's in fetus in the tummy. I'll go to the hospital, because I know the hospital. I know the time of the appointment. Go there now. She's there with her mate, a girl. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are you not letting me come into the appointment? So she's all like, oh, the police told me not to talk to you.
So how did the police get involved?
So I said, what are you talking about? So she was like to me, yeah, my mum's house got burgled, and my brother got robbed, and I got neighbours and people saying that you went in the yard with like 5 men, you beat up the dog, and you robbed the brother and all this. So I'm like, okay, and who, you know what I mean? Like, these times, I see my mum that day, I see my sister that day. So these times when things are going on, I remember I've even got a reservation and receipt from where I took my current partner. We went to have a meal that day.
Yeah.
So she tried to basically say that to the police and her brother and that apparently they saw me out on the road outside when they was going somewhere. Like, I'm not like no Joe Blogs off the road. Like, I'm someone of importance, good or bad, in your life. So you're going to mention that. What's he doing here? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, agree.
You're going to bring attention to it. So it don't add up. Like, do you know what I mean? So so she was saying to me, yeah, police told me not to talk to you and that. I said, what are you talking about? Like, police never rung me once, never called me, never talked to me.
Came to you,
Yeah. Literally, I just got, my name got thrown into the hat, and they was just like, nah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say to her, listen, like, we had an agreement. Just relax yourself. Let me see the baby. Do you know what I mean? And again, I was calm with it, because it was like, I'm doing the right thing. Even if she's not going to let me in, I've come here and I've stood here and I've said, I'm available. If you don't want to open that door and let me walk through it with you, that's on you.
Yeah.
I've done the right thing. Didn't end up going into the scan. Basically, then I went away. I messaged her, basically saying to her, multiple messages, sort of from there onward. I've been called like all the names under the sun. My partner's been called all the names under the sun. And then the baby was born in October. So in September, I said, listen, this has all got to stop. So I said, one last time, I said, please, can we meet and have a serious conversation? The baby is nearly here. We need to sort this out. So I went and I met with her. And for something I'm going to touch upon later, just for everybody to understand. So she arranged where we met, right? So there was a place that was close to my workplace and a place that was kind of close to her house. And it was a superstore car park, well lit, cameras everywhere, safe space, yeah? I suggested that location, all right? Then she's turned around and said to me, I want you to come to this big Sainsbury's car park. That's like a massive Sainsbury's, yeah? But the car park is like, there's no cameras, pitch black, it's not lit at night time and all this, yeah? So she's like to me, yeah, come meet me here at like 10 o'clock. And I'm thinking, what? Like at 10 p.m? I'm like, you should be in bed resting. You're having a baby soon. Do you know what I mean? So she's gone to me, yeah. So I've gone there on my bike. She's like, yeah, park in a corner and that. And I'm like, what? It's just spooky. Do you know what I mean? It sounds spooky as hell. So again, this is all her suggestions. So I'm like, all right, cool. So the girl's pulled up, sat in the car now, and she's talking to me. She was like to me, yeah, by the way, like with a smirk on her face, or all the hospital documents where you're on like the next of kin and that for the child and that, I've took you off of all the hospital documentation, all your details. When they asked me about the dad and all that, like, you're non-existent. And she basically said to me, like, yeah, you can be there the day that she's born and this, that, and whatever. And I was like, all right, cool, like, you know, and I'm listening. And then she's gone to me, but I'm not putting you on the birth certificate.
For what reasons?
So I said to her, pardon? She said, yeah, no, I'm not putting you on the birth certificate because I don't trust you and all this stuff. And I'm like, am I that baby's dad? Yeah. So why would you not put me on the birth certificate? So she was like, nah, you know, once you show that you're committed to her and you're committed and this, that, and whatever, then we can maybe think about you adding at a later date. Once you're on there, I can't take you off. So I'm like, what? Like, so at this time, the legalities of family law, all these things, I have no idea, right? So in my head, I'm just thinking like, piece of paper, obviously, tells you your mum and your dad is, where you was born, important document, yeah? Timeless, do you know what I mean? It goes with you from the first day till your last.
Yeah.
So I've left that, you know, I'm just speechless. And then, you know, she's like to me, oh yeah, and I'm living back at my mum's house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so you're not putting me on a birth certificate. You're having a baby in a house where there's domestic violence prevalence to every single woman that stepped foot in that building, and a drug dealer. So not only himself, but people consuming drugs on the premises. God knows who's coming in and out of the premises. That's a place that
So was he shotting from the house?
Yeah, bro, like McDonald's drive-through, brother. Literally, people not knocking on the window next to the front door, yeah? Like the dog had 2 barks. It's like that, bro. Literally. So, yeah, so that's the environment that you want your child to be raised in, yeah? All right, cool. So I said, you know what? I can't deal with this, yeah? I'm stressed out my nut. You know what I mean? I'm running my own business. I'm doing all this stuff. So I'm like, cool. So I've gone away, I've gone to sleep. Now I woke up the next day and I was like, I need some help. I need some advice. I need to talk to someone about what's happening. So I called up Family Line or something. I can't remember exactly. Please forgive me if I've said the wrong thing, but I think it was Family Line. And basically it's like an advice line. You can talk to them about anything family related. And they obviously advised me to break it down into 2 things. They said, your daughter, you need to break it down into 2 things. One thing is access, and one thing is safeguarding. So they turned around and they basically said to me, okay, so first thing is access. You need to, you know, apply
C100?
Yeah, C100, all that stuff, or get yourself like some legal advice, blah, blah, blah. Second thing, they said, based on what I told them, they was like, well, I'm going to put you through to like the local authority just to have a chat with them about your concerns. So at this current moment, I just think like I'm just having a conversation with people and they're just going to say, you need to do this, you need to do that. Or if you want to report this, you want to report that. What I didn't know was the things that were being said was being noted and recorded in a way that it was going to be actioned on. So obviously the child's not born yet. So I spoke to the local authority on the phone, someone, and then they was like, all right, cool, took my details, took the girl's details, everything, the house, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll get like messages sent to me from my mum and that saying like, oh, like this girl's like screaming down my phone, like, why have you gone to like child services and that? And I'm like, oh, like they must have contacted her. Okay, do you know what I mean? Now, my thing is, yeah, if I'm making up tales and I'm talking rubbish and all that, yeah, if you're not putting your child in risk environment or you're not doing anything wrong, why would you react?
Yeah.
I'll just be like, oh, he's being a dickhead, whatever. Come to my house any day you want. Come look in my house, look in my fridge, what I'm eating. I'm open for you to come and see my lifestyle because this man here is trying to destabilize me, blah, blah, blah. But when you have a response like that, for me, it's like you're just showing me I'm getting found out now. Yeah. People are going to start sniffing around now. Oh, it's all coming on top. So the girl managed to speak to the child services person who they basically recorded the thing. And she made it seem like I lied about everything. It's just a tit for tat thing because I told her that I'm not going on the birth certificate. I'm just basically trying to cause some trouble. The brother's not a risk at all. The brother's not this, not that. And basically, yeah, like she convinced them that like me and him had an argument because he ate the mango out the fridge that I bought for my lunch one day. That crap, bro, I swear on my life, yeah, like that. And I said to the woman, excuse you, like, what? So she was like, listen, just go and get a lawyer, sort it out legally, blah, blah, blah. This is supposed to be someone that's got the welfare of children at their best interest.
So when she gave birth...
Yeah, she never told me.
Okay.
So she gave birth on the 27th of October. I got told about my daughter being here alive and well on the 4th of November.
And he told you?
She did.
So
Via
she messaged
messages. Yeah, via the WhatsApp messages. So in these messages, oh yeah, this is your daughter. So she had a terrible birth. The baby had to be incubated. All these things, yeah. Now, again, the mum was the birthing partner. So it's not just her, but the mum as well. This is the type of character of individual that you're dealing with, yeah. That's my baby. My daughter is in a life or death situation. She's at risk. She's being incubated. Can't breathe on her own. All these problems, yeah. I need to be there. I don't care what you think of me or what bollocks or whatever it is. Like, I believe in things like energies, yeah? And I believe if I stand by you, I can share that strength with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, things like that. And, you know, the fact that the girl's out of it, the girl's like lost a lot of blood, this, that, and whatever. All right, cool. I've got issues with the girl. That's fine. Now, as a parent, as a grown-ass adult, you got grown-ass kids. You need to make the decision and say, nah, this can't be running no more, this silliness. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? That's his kid.
Yeah.
Because if I got the phone call 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I would have been there before she finished the sentence. But I never got that. So I got all this long message telling me all this stuff about me. I wouldn't trust her with a stranger, so I wouldn't trust her with you. If you want to see her, you can pay to go contact centre. I'm not putting your name on the birth certificate. I'm not giving her none of your name and all this. After she agreed that the child would have my last name, I've got that in writing. None of that, yeah? 2 days later, I get a WhatsApp from an unknown number with an attachment. So I'm like, what's that? Opened it up. A court order, non-molestation order. I'm hearing non-molestation. I'm like, molestation? That's all I'm thinking about. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that sounds something really, you know, untoward. So I'm doing all this research now, and it's basically, obviously, for people that don't know, it's effectively like a restraining order to keep a person away from another person for whatever reason, harassing them or whatever. So she got one of her mates to serve me a court document, basically serve me a non-molestation order, like a summons kind of thing to court. So I'm like, wait, what? So I get all this paperwork through from the court and I get to see like the statement and stuff. The same day that she told me that my daughter was born, like all the stuff that she sent me that same day, she was preparing and sent off all this stuff for a non-molestation order against me.
So she told you about your child first. On the same day, she then
So I don't know whether she done the court thing first and then told me.
Yeah.
Because the way, if you read the messages, they were written in, it would have really invoked a lot of anger and things in another person. I was angry, of course. Like, you know, my child's been born. I'm being told I can't see her. I'm being told all this stuff. But I know other men that would have gone to the yard, booted off the door, like, where's my kid? Do you know what I mean? Like, that level of, like, the level of messages, it was just untoward.
Let me ask you this, though. So all of this going on, where was this other guy she claiming she was dating?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So I have no idea. Because, again, it's not my business. I'm not going to be questioning 21 questions and all this. So, yeah, I don't know about this other guy at that point. Excuse me. So I get this paperwork through and I see the dates on the statement. And then it was just crazy, like the things that she was saying. That she had 27 A4 pages of handwritten statement, apparently of like me being abusive to her. There's no evidence, you know what I mean? Again, it's just waffle. She wanted it ex parte, which means that I'm not present when they do the first hearing and grant it. The judges, when they looked at it, must have been like, nah. So we had a hearing. On the non-molestation application, she asked for it to say for me not to be violent towards her, to the baby, all of this stuff, yeah. And I was like, hold on a minute, like what? Yeah. Like that's not who I am. That's who I've never been that person. And not only that, what makes me sick to my stomach is you're putting that for me towards a child as well, my own child. So we get to the court now. The judge, she was really nice, to be fair. She just turned around and was like, I ain't granting the order. Like, I think you need to just kind of have a look at this and, you know, have some mediation or something. And basically, you know, it's not so much about two people that are, you know, going in a separate direction. It's about a child that needs to be, you know, looked out for and have their best interest at heart. So before that hearing, obviously, once I got the served non-molestation thing, I'd done a bit of research, filed a C100. So that kind of was in the works, getting processed whilst I had that hearing. So at the end of that hearing, the judge basically merged the two cases together. So she put my child arrangements case and the non-molestation thing together, which really just messed everything up, because I've been in court for over a year representing myself, and the only thing they want to hear about is non-molestation hearings. I had my C100 in to the courts when my daughter was less than 3 weeks old. And the first direct resolution hearing, whatever, where like they set out the timeline of how they're going to look at the case, was seen probably 30 months later. I had campaigned to the courts about having the hearing pushed forward because of the age of the child and the necessity to bond with the child. They pushed it. They gave me, I had a date in the end of May. They gave me an earlier date in April. And then they just appointed a non-magistrate. So it wasn't anyone that was appointed by the court that could had the power like to make orders and things. So it was a waste of time, lost another 7 months. And then, yeah, it's just mad. Like, then Kafkas got involved. Because obviously of my child arrangements, and I put my concerns, and obviously they get involved because of the things that I said about the family home, you know, all the history there. And then you basically get a call from a Kafkas worker, and they basically sit down and they talk to you about kind of how you are, the type of person that you are, like you take drugs, what you do, blah, blah, blah. And then they just ask you like, okay, so like, what's your concerns about the other side? Like, so I've obviously expressed myself, you know, and all I know is to speak the truth. And then I've got the letter basically sent to me where it's got like kind of bullet points and notes of what I've said, and then she's had the same call on what she said. So during this process, she's basically said that like I'm an enhanced DBS individual. I work with vulnerable people, adults, children, you name it. I've worked with every age you can imagine, you know, from an 80-year-old man trying to teach him how to walk again to little kids trying to teach them football for the first time, you know, to 18-month-old 2-year-olds. So, yeah, she put on there things like I was basically like a child molester. So like I basically was like in the groups that I was working with children, I was having inappropriate relationships with them. She was basically saying that I've got a personality disorder. My dad's got a personality disorder. All sort of mad stuff. And then at the end of that Kafkas letter, it said an assessment would need to take place before we would advise contact with the father. So I've got a piece of paper from Kafkas that is, well, to this day, it's probably like 2 years old nearly. That still ain't been updated, still ain't been changed, no things have been done, and all it says in black and white on the bottom is we do not advise contact with father until further assessment because of the nonsense that this girl said. Yeah.
So let me ask you just 2 questions before we move forward. So when your child has been born, up to that time of the Kafka situation, have you not ever seen your child?
Nope.
So, and how many months was that when in that space of time you haven't seen your child?
So when I got that Kafkas letter, I'll probably say the child was probably about 2-3 months,
Okay.
maybe older.
And there's only pictures you've only seen of her at that particular time.
The only thing that I ever got sent was the pictures of her in the hospital.
Okay.
So I never got any updates. I never got anything. Not got sent anything basically. Yeah. So then the only thing that would happen was before all this madness happened, she was saying to me like, yeah, like I'll let your mum and your sister, if they want to be in the child's life, they can see her, but you can't. And I said to her like, no one's seeing my child unless I see them first, unless I have a relationship. So she devised this plan where it was like, oh, I'm going to try and manipulate people and swing it in a way that it's like, oh yeah, like if I'm pally with your mum and your sister and like I send them pictures and I let them see the kid like once a month or whatever, then it's a way to hurt you. And obviously for my parent and my sister, it was kind of like we just are trying to bridge a gap. But obviously it was upsetting me same way, like from both parties, because in my eyes it's like I'm under so much stress with all this going on. I'm just trying to be a dad. I just want to see my child. I want to be ever present in her life. I've got all these accusations being thrown at me. I've got caught about non-molestation things. I'm representing myself in court. You know what I mean? It's quite overwhelming.
So, was there ever a fact finding what took place on these allegations that she tried to make?
So I was supposed to have a fact find in April of this year.
Okay.
But the court again messed up. They didn't have a pre-trial review. So basically it got pushed back. So then potentially I've got a pre-trial review tomorrow.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
I've got a fact finding in December, potentially, if they want to go ahead with it. But the thing that's crazy is as the duration of this process has gone on, the allegations have just gotten worse and worse and worse. So if I kind of just pull it back to got this Kafkas thing, they said, you're not allowed to have contact unless an assessment's been made. So obviously the court, they're all scapegoats for each other. So the court don't want to do nothing unless Kafkas says it. Kafkas don't want to do nothing unless the court says it. So where do we go? Who's going to take the reins here? Do you know what I mean? So I'm sat there, I'm like, all right, well, surely in court, there's things that when people are in clear agreement, they can get wrapped up quick. Not once has she ever disputed that I'm the child's biological parent, and neither have I. So why have I not been actioned to be put on the birth certificate and for, the child's name to be changed potentially? Because again, I've got proof to show that she agreed that the child would have my last name. Things like that. But they don't want to address it. So I was at my wit's end. I went to court after that first resolution meeting. Basically, they was like, he don't pay no child maintenance, he don't pay this, he don't pay that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he's not committed. And she had a legal team because of the non-molestation order. They've given her legal aid. She had a legal setup. So I'm just there like, hold on a minute. Like, you're literally one-sidedly listening to a barrister from someone, but I'm just talking sense to you, but you don't want to hear it. I'm not committed. So why am I sat in this chair? How can a judge say that a man's not committed?
So the judge said that you're not committed?
Because she was waffling about, he's not committed to the child, he's this, he goes on holidays to Spain with his partner, this, that, and whatever. He don't, and then the judge is just looking at me. And I said to her, like, the truth. I said to her, like, no, what are you talking about? Like, again, I just speak my truth. And the judge, even though I said things that counteracted what she said, she was like, I need you to show some commitment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you send indirect contact videos to the child, like twice a week. And then mum can send an update once a week or whatever. And then if you do that up until the next hearing, then we'll consider having contact. So I did that.
So what was you doing in these kind of videos?
So in the videos, like I was there with my other daughter. So I've got another daughter who is about 6 months in age difference.
And that's with the partner you're with now?
Yeah. So we're together, we live together, we're very happy, have a beautiful house, beautiful family set up, you know. She's from a place like where, when I mentioned Spain, so she has family in Spain. She's from South American origin. So family lives in Spain. So if my child, who I have at home with me, wants to see her grandparents, one of them's either got to jump on a plane either way, yeah? So there was this whole thing about me going on holidays to Spain and all that. It's like, no, we're taking our child to see their grandparents because family is important. Yeah, so she was saying all this stuff like to the judge. The judge was like, yeah, you're not committed, send these videos. So in the videos, I'm, you know, dancing around, singing songs. You know, if anyone's watching and they got young kids of their own, or, you know, things like rhyme time and stuff that they do, literally doing all that, like the nursery rhymes, getting like little toys out, little musical instruments, singing along in the videos, or even just reading books, like getting books, you know, going to the library.
So you do all this, just on a normal video. It's not actually live. It's just you.
So it's a recorded video,
okay,
and then I have to send that to her legal side, and then they then forward that on to
yeah.
So I did that for probably like 6-7 months between the hearings. Then when we got to the next hearing, where I was supposed to have the fact find, it was said in black and white on the order, that, you know, if I had persisted with showing commitment and things, then they would obviously look at increasing it to obviously me having direct contact. And also looking at safeguarding issues surrounding this girl's brother. But when I got to the hearing, it was a guy, judge, very passive, very like, didn't want to upset anybody. So he was like, well, you know, Kafkas has advised this is all I've got to work with. So basically he turned around and was like, you know, I'll let you guys have some time if you want to come to an agreement. But unless basically mum says yay, nothing's happening, because again, I have no rights.
Is that because you're not on a birth certificate?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing as well, just obviously for people that are watching, and something that I wasn't aware of, and please, again, if I'm wrong, I do apologize, but I was notified that when your child is registered, the first 12 months of their life, if you're not on their birth certificate within that first 12 months, even if you get put on there after the first 12 months, you don't automatically get parental responsibility. So now I'm in the process of obviously trying to have contact with the child, but I've had to put 2 separate C2 applications for a parental responsibility order and obviously the declaration of parentage, because even if I get put on the birth certificate tomorrow, I won't have any rights whatsoever, because over a year has elapsed of that child's being born. So you don't get the automatic parental responsibility. So yeah, I don't have anything.
So what's the difference between these 2 forms? So what you've applied for?
So all it is when you have an application upon the court.
And what application is that one?
So the C100.
Okay,
so that's the child's arrangements order. So that's basically the things in that is for me to basically have contact with a child. And there's other little things that is in there, like for example the change of name and, you know, being put on the birth certificate. But because I wasn't aware when I filed the C100 that I actually had to file a separate paperwork for the declaration of parentage, that's the one for the birth certificate. So
does that one actually have a number itself?
So if you've already got an application upon the court, then you just get a C2 form. And the C2 form, all you do on the C2 form is you put in your current number, like case number, and then you put on there the application, what it's for. So for example, I want the application for the declaration of parentage and the parental responsibility order. It could be for anything. It could be for anything, as long as you have a live application upon the court already. There is a number specifically for those separate applications, but I don't know. I don't know them. So went to court. The judge basically was just like useless, and even at this point I basically had got a legal team under instruction, So I found a charity through me networking and researching, and it's called Both Parents Matter.
Okay.
And it's based in Wales. But what I heard through the grapevine is like, I know you're not like in Wales and that, it's like based in Cardiff or whatever, but they'll help you.
And what do they help with when they do this?
So I basically spoke to a lovely woman on the phone. What she did was she basically spoke to me about my experience and kind of what was going on. And then she said, yeah, 100%, like we can help you. And what they do is they have the capacity to file to a solicitor on your behalf, basically being signed off by the charity, a pack which details and documents the hardships that you've gone through, any sort of abuse or whatever you've dealt with your partner. And then what that does is that allows that legal team that it gets sent to, that solicitor or whatever, to then apply for legal aid on your behalf.
Okay.
So I ended up getting a legal team. My legal team is based in Cardiff. Again, once you have your legal aid certificate, you can move to whatever legal team you want. So, just because, they have a relationship with that law firm, once your application is approved and you get funding through legal aid, you don't have to stay with that same solicitor or that same law firm. So, for example, there's many times if I wanted to, where I live, there's about 2-3 law firms that deal with family law. I could have easily walked across the road, spoke to them. Basically, they just have a conversation between themselves, send all the stuff over. There's some paperwork that needs signing. And then, you can transfer that legal aid funding to a new legal team. So if someone is not doing right by you, or you feel like you've got legal aid and they're not really pulling the punches, or you feel like you've got a lot of evidence and you've got a lot of things going for you and they're not really doing the right by you, you can have a conversation with them. And then my next step would be speak to other people, present your case, have meetings with other, legal teams, and then say to them, I got legal aid. And then, the funding, once you've got it, it's government funding, you can just get that reallocated. A lot of people might not know that. They just might think, I've got legal aid with this firm, I've got to be stuck with them. But
and just to interrupt there, with this legal aid, if you're working or not, can you still get it, or does it?
Yeah. So with legal aid funding, basically they just want to do some background checks. Obviously, it's a lot easier to get if you're on like benefits like universal credit or job seekers allowance. Different places of the country have different rules and whatnot. But I was surprised because when I spoke to them as well, they was like, no, like you can be working. They just ask you questions like, have you got less than £6,000 in capital in savings and XYZ, or do you own property and whatnot? So again, I don't want to speak on things that I'm not fully
100%.
But I just know that there is a threshold. If you're within the threshold, then you can get it. Then they sent an email to mum's side saying, we are now representing Mr. XYZ, he's under full representation. That same week, I get police belling on my door. Why are police coming to my house? So then I'm like, police has come into my house, I'm not there, My partner's like, why is police coming here? So you try to ask them, they're like, no, we're not telling you. They're looking for me. So then I've called the police on like 101 or whatever it is. And I said, look, I had some police attend my property. They're asking for me, is everything okay? Like, has something been stolen? Like, I've got my car, like all my stuff's here. Or
what's the allegations?
Yes. So they wouldn't tell me nothing. So they was like, no, you just need to go to your local police station. So again, I ain't done nothing to nobody. So I've gone there with my partner, my baby in my arms. I've gone to the help desk like, hi. Like, this is my name. I had police come to my property. Can you tell me what this is about, please? So the woman was all smiling, giving me the nicey nice, an officer, singular, is going to come and just talk to you about like what this is about, So I'm sat there, wait about 5-10 minutes. I'm with my partner. I'm holding my daughter. Then I just see like three men just rock up like out the side door, and they're all looking at me like, and I'm holding my daughter at this time. They're like, oh, are you XYZ? I said, yeah. They was like, oh, I think it's in the best interest of everybody if you give the baby to your partner.
This is the second baby. This is your
Yeah, so
current
this is
partner.
my
This is your
current partner, my daughter that I have at home. Yeah,
just to clear that.
So I'm like, what? So at this time, I think my daughter was about 6 months old. That one that I have at home. So I'm like, what? So they're like, yeah, like acting all aggy, like, yeah, give the baby to the woman. So me, I'm there. I'm like, you're moving nuts. I'm like, I ain't done nothing to nobody for you to be number one talking like that, yeah. But you're talking crazy, like I'm holding my baby. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I've not shown any aggression. I've not shown any like.
And you don't even know the reasons why you're even
there. Yeah, like, or like I'm trying to make her runner and all. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so. Then I gave the baby to my partner, and then they're like, oh, can you come through the doors with us? And I'm like, yeah, what for? They're like, oh yeah, we'll tell you on the other side. So I know what's going down, innit? Obviously, I kind of had a chat with my partner and I said, look, like if anything happens, just know like this is what we're going to do, yeah? So I've gone through the doors. Then the guy's like, oh yeah, I'm arresting you for domestic harassment. So I said, all right, domestic harassment. I said, all right. I said, can you tell me in detail like what this is pertaining to? So this is obviously pertaining to the baby mum, the other baby mum. And they was like to me, oh, there's 4 instances where that have been reported where you've basically harassed her. And I said, all right, go on then. Before the baby was born, I called her phone on 2 occasions, left no voicemail, didn't text her. That was one. Second one was 6 months later, I went to her house, knocked on the door, no one answered, and I left. That was 2. Third one was, again, she texted me to tell me to leave her alone and not message her, and then I replied to that text. That was 3. And I think the 4th one was, and the 4th one was when the day that my daughter was born, and she let me know in their messages, she blocked my number, but when you blocked the number on her thing, it went to the voicemail. So I left a voicemail, and I left an impassioned speech. I wasn't shouting or anything. I was quite emotional, actually, just trying to speak like on a level, like, yo, like, you only get to be there one time. When someone's born and when someone dies, you only get to say hi and bye once. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. If you miss someone's funeral or however you want to, you can't go back and take that back. The same way when a baby's born, if you're not there, you're not there. You miss it. And that was the 4th one. So I looked at the officers, 3 men. I said, what else? They was like, that's it. I said, I'm being arrested because I called someone's phone twice, didn't leave a voicemail, didn't leave a message. 6 months later, I knocked on the front door, no one answered, and I walked away. Where's the harassment? Because my understanding of harassment is constant.
Phoning and turning
Yes. Up. Yeah. So I then end up going there. I get taken from that police station because they didn't have a custody suite to another police station. I end up being in custody for 18 hours. I get interviewed. They say to me, oh yeah, but apparently there's some criminal damage that's happened to her car. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, yes, apparently her car tires were slashed. And I said, I don't even know what car the girl drives. Do you know what I mean? Like, so then literally I end up coming out, spoke to the solicitor, obviously, that I come there. She was like, they've got nothing on you. There's no evidence. And I said, it's all malicious. It's all her. Because I got a legal team now, so she's called the police making up stories so that it looks bad. Because everything for her is about delaying. She knows with the evidence I have and all that, it's only a matter of time before I sit there and someone goes, that's the dad, that's the rights, that's this, that's that contact. So what she's doing is she's playing a game where she thinks I'm just going to stop. I'm going to make his life hell. I'm going to get him arrested. I'm going to make these allegations, call him a nonce, call him this, call him that. Like, it's mad. So that was the first time I got arrested. So then...
But was they arrested? But even still, the police arrested you. What was they arresting you on? Like, what evidence? What evidence did they have?
They arrested me for domestic harassment. And then literally, I got released on bail. I got a phone call. But a month later, 6 weeks later, because they extended the bail, because again, the police are useless, they don't do nothing. And then literally they was like, yeah, no further action, because there's no evidence. I didn't do anything. So then time goes by, and then literally March, so 6 months later, 4 police officers trying to knock on my door. Now this time my daughter's walking around and that, do you know what I mean? She's older now. And then I wasn't home. Police officers looking through the letterbox. Oh yeah, like I can hear an infant in there. I'm gonna boot the door down. Answer me. Who's there? Blah blah blah. My partner's obviously quite anxious and upset because she's like, wait, hold on. Why are the police here? And why are they acting so
aggressively?
Yes. So obviously she's got my daughter there. So I literally was there thinking, why is police coming to my house again? But this time I was like, well, we know where it's coming from. So my partner's there with my daughter, scared, 4 police officers. And look, if you're coming to my yard, there's 4 police. You're not coming to chat to me. You're coming to take me away. Like, it's not, there's no if, buts or maybes. So she said to me again, like, yo, like the police have come to the house. I wasn't there. She was like to me, yeah, like they was acting all aggressive. They asked her where I was and she was trying to explain to them. And then, because we just moved to the house like 18 months before, she don't know all the areas and that. Do you know what I mean? And especially like she only been in this country for like 6 years. So like, she was like, nah, like I don't know like names of certain places and things. She was like, I just know that he's with his friend, he's doing this. Gone to the police station. So I went there in the morning because I thought, you know what, like let me time this on my time, because I'm probably going to get detained again. It's probably going to all be all nonsense. Do you know what I mean? So I've gone to the police station and I basically sat down there, waited for about half an hour. Then these 2 police officers come out. Nice, well-spoken gentleman said to me like, oh yeah, like, do you know why you're here and that? And I'm like, no, I don't, because I haven't done anything. So you need to explain to me, why am I here? Why you're talking to me? So he was like, oh, well, there's been some allegations made of some criminal damage and stalking and harassment. So I'm like, oh, okay, what are we talking about? Because I've already had to deal with this criminal damage nonsense before. So once again, go get taken to the custody suite. I tried to speak to the sergeant and I said to the sergeant, look, like, can I do a caution plus 3 interview? For people that don't know, a caution plus 3 interview is when you arrange a time to go in your own time and speak to the police under interview, the same way you would if you've been held in a cell for 12 hours and then they pull you out for interview. But what that does is it allows you to live and go about your day like normal, and then you just go there like an appointment, you give your statement, whatever it is, and if they want to further arrest you during the interview or whatever they want to do, they can do whatever. But it gives you the flexibility to be doing your thing. Again, everything is like she's just building this campaign. She see that the previous stuff that she put in with the non-molestation was so weak. Even the judges that said before, like, when the judges were saying like, oh yeah, your credibility, they was talking about her credibility and all that, because it's shot, because she's making up stories. Excuse me. Making up stories to like Kafkas, but then you're telling the court one thing, Kafkas another thing, the police another thing, telling my mum and my sister other things that are to do with the same incident, but there's not one straight story. It's a mess. So they was all giving me the runaround acting dumb. And then literally one day I was out with my partner and my daughter, and then I got a phone call. Oh yeah, like, your bail restrictions are lifted, but you've been released under investigation. So I said to the woman, under investigation, I said, you've had 2-3 months. There's no evidence. There's no proof of anything. I've sent you evidence to show that I'm innocent. Concrete proof. Oh, yeah, I'm in an R&R, but because there was a previous complaint, it's flagged up as a safeguarding issue. So basically, you're released under investigation. So there's an open police file against me for malicious allegations against this girl that in 10 years' time they could close if they wanted to. So every time when someone wants to do an intensive check, for example, if the police...
CRB check?
I'm not sure to what degree, but I know on the police national computer it says pending, like open, under investigation. So depending on who's looking at that and who's looking at that, the family court's looking at that. So again, things are gonna try to be warped and misconstrued in a way that shows mum to be, oh, I'm a victim, I'm this, I'm that. Look, he's under investigation. So again, it's not about me, it's about these things cause issues for dads or for men when police don't do their job properly, when they don't, there is no finality to things, then it leaves an open-ended book for interpretation. So then that's the police there. The police then of done their thing, no further action for the first one. Second one, no evidence, but they've left it open under investigation. So I'm thinking to myself, like, what? Then it just keeps getting worse. So then I get to hear that social services is now involved with my daughter. She's got a social services, like social worker assigned to her. Basically, the mum was going to the social services and basically she tried to then say to them that I had raped her.
So she's saying that you raped her when she got pregnant?
Well, around the time that basically the child was either conceived or after, I'm not sure in specifics because all I got was basically like a printout or a letter of involvement. So the court got sent from social services a letter of involvement that basically just kind of briefly outlined their at that point their involvement. And then I'm seeing this letter and it's like, oh, like he would continually pressure me to have sex with him. I would tell him repeatedly no, and he would force himself onto me. Even when I told him no, all of this stuff. And then the social worker added after that paraphrase, she basically said, even though the word rape was not used, it was insinuated. So obviously they've put the word rape in there. And then I'm just like, what? And then, so I'm getting sort of drips and drabs from different organizations as kind of things are going on. And then I basically met with a social worker in August, and basically he was like, like I'm the main social worker for your daughter. Basically, he was like, like I've met mum and that. She's told me a bit about the background of the situation. And basically she's turned around and said that, this, that and whatever. But I've not really seen anything to show that there's tangible evidence. This is a man that works with like DV, domestic violence and thing cases a lot. Yeah. So, so he turned around, I took my MacBook and I opened up my MacBook, all the evidence, all the voice notes, all the videos, all this, all that. I showed him. I said, brother, this is the person. Little Red Riding Hood. Yeah. There you go. Crying Wolf, yeah. This is the person, yeah. And then he was like, okay, like some things make a bit more sense to me because again, he was like, I was being told all this stuff, but again, he's being professional, and he said, well, I think that it's in the best interest of your child if she meets you and she has a relationship with you. So through the social services, they've got their own contact centers. It's all fully funded, state funded, so it's not going to impact anyone financially. We can organize it, facilitate it, So he was like, I'm going to try my best, obviously, to put that in front of mum and that, but I can't make no promises because, again, I ain't got no rights or nothing. So the guy's gone away. Then he's obviously spoke to mum, come back. She's like, nah, I want to wait to hear what the court say. Wow. You got a social worker that is assigned to your daughter, and they're advising you that it's in your child's best interest for them to see their dad in an environment that they're willing to provide for you. That is the safest and securest environment that you can have. No. But then she's got the audacity to say to the court, and I'm not trying to alienate my daughter from her dad. I'm not trying to alienate. What are you doing then? Why would you not put my name on the birth certificate? Why would you not give her my last name? Why would you not allow me to give her a middle name or see her? Why would you not allow me to go to, under scrutinize, constant scrutiny, go to contact centers and things like that? Because you don't want me to be involved in my daughter's life. Because the way that I look at it, I just feel like the woman's just scorned. She's just extremely jealous. there's another woman that's living the life that she probably wished that she had, you know. And
But do you think because you told her from the get-go that you didn't want to have a child with her is why she's now feeling this type of way towards you?
so the catalyst for a big shift in her behavior was, I think, when I spoke to that family line. And obviously when she got contacted sort of nearer the time to when before the baby was born, because I kind of then felt like it was like I made an official movement where I let external bodies know like something's not right in that house. And so, yeah, like she just switched up from there. And I feel like her thing was, all right, I need to make up all this. I need to create all this barrier now because, you know, I'm going to lose the child and she doesn't want me to have her.
All right, so let me ask you this then. When she found out that you got the other girl pregnant, was her behavior, did her behavior change when she found that out? Or
No,
was she was still
I
cool?
mean, she was still mute. No, I mean, that was still like during the Buki period where she was acting mad.
Okay.
So sort of after that 20-week scan period. So, you know, even my current partner reached out to her and said, look, like, you know, they're going to have a sibling. Can we resolve this? Do you know what I mean? Like speaking to her on a level and that, but nothing's ever good enough.
All right, bro, listen, because time is getting upon us, we want to see him coming to end, right? So just a few things I just want to try and get to. So just to put it out there, all these allegations what she has made against you, you know to yourself, it's all false allegations.
Yep.
No stalking, haven't put your hands on her, nothing whatsoever.
No, nothing at all.
All right, cool. So that's been sorted there. In terms of seeing your child still from today, have you ever seen your child?
So I went to a contact center once when the child was 3 months old. Literally just looked at me, screamed the whole time. Obviously don't know me. During that time, the non-molestation application was live, like her application for it. But she was making out I was the boogeyman. But then when the woman said to her, oh, do you want to come and just try to help the contact, facilitate the contact? She sat so close to me, holding the baby, that her leg touched mine.
Okay.
But then it's like, she'll go to court and be like, oh no, like I can't be within X amount of, do you know what I mean? It's like so many contradictions. But yeah, I saw the child once. Child was hysterical, like upset. It's the mother's fault and I understand. And then she never let me see her since then.
All right, so with the court stage then, what's happening with the courts? Where is that at now? So
the court stage now is I've got a pre-trial review. And then if it doesn't, most likely they just like to tick boxes, go to the fact find. So the next step for me is obviously the fact find, where all the truth's going to come out.
Yeah. And then once the fact finding happens, what happens with seeing your child after that?
Well, I'm hoping that when we go to the pre-trial review, because of the involvement of the social services and the offer for them to conduct contact, I'm hoping that we can get an interim contact order put in place, and we're going to ask the judge for that so that I can start seeing the child regularly at a contact centre. Don't want to go there. I don't think it's right, but if I get to see her, that's brilliant. And then obviously from there, then the main thing is to develop the contact to the point where I would like to have her, you know, half of the time. Yeah, I'm more than happy to be a responsible dad. I've been fighting to be a responsible dad. I want my daughter in my life. I want my daughter with her sister. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, like I want to be full on in her
Involved.
life. Yeah.
And to any fathers who's maybe going through your situation or any advice you want to give to any fathers, what would you like to say to any fathers? You can say in that camera there.
So the first and foremost, the first thing I would say is, like, be true to yourself. But me being true to myself, it made life difficult for me because I ended up having no rights and having to overcome all these hurdles and all these things. So our main focus, I would say, is focus on try and hash out whatever you can and really try to make sure that you're there when that child's registered. Get on that birth certificate. Because if you get on that birth certificate, it's going to open up many doors legally that you're going to be able to walk through with ease. Where I'm waiting for that door to be unlocked for me, you're going to be able to walk right through it. you're not alone. You know, we're here on the podcast. You know, if you want my details, you know, I'm sure I can pass them on. You know, I'm more than happy to sit and have telephone conversations, reply to emails, text messages, because I know the importance of feeling isolated and alone, but you just can't give up. The main thing is your children. So stand by them. Even if you can't be with them like me, keep fighting. If there's allegations made against you, rise above it, deny them, speak your truth, seek help, seek charities, seek ways and means where you can facilitate contact, facilitate, you know, any sort of court order if it's necessary. But the main thing is try to be amicable, with your partner or ex-partner as much as you can, because you don't want to go through this, you know. And if you are going through this, you're not alone. There's people there that you can talk to. There's services that you can talk to. If you're ever feeling like you're emotional, you know, you're on the floor, whatever, you've got Samaritans, you've got other things like that. Just don't give up. Stay strong. Bless your family, bless your children when you can, and just try and be the best dad that you can be.
Well said, Thomas. Well said. So listen, we will get you back on again to find out the later stage.
Okay.
What happened.
Yeah.
Like, it would be good to kind of follow up for your process. Yeah. I want to say also thank you for coming on today's show to obviously share your story. I want to say just keep on fighting, obviously from your own words and stuff. So anyone who's been watching today, I want to hear your views on today's episode. Drop it in the comments below. Also as well, don't forget to press that notification button for when any new episode comes out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and all that kind of stuff. All right, and obviously don't forget to like and share. All right. So till next time, off from the baby fathers and for myself, and obviously thank you for Thomas for coming on again. Peace, and we out.